Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar on the new lodging tax reporting requirements. We've gotten a lot of interest in this webinar, so that tells us that people are anxious to figure out how to follow the new rules. We know that this is a popular funding stream for cities and counties, so we were pleased to see a lot of you sign up for the webinar today. We hope that we can answer a lot of your questions. Let me talk a little bit about the process before we jump into our presentations. First of all, I want to say that this webinar is sponsored by the Association of Washington Cities, the Washington State Association of Counties, and the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Committee, JLARC, as it's known up on the Hill. In addition, we have a presenter that comes from the industry who will help us answer hopefully some of your questions about gathering estimates and reporting, specific reporting requirements. So thank you again for joining us. This webinar is going to be recorded, and we will put it on our webpage, the AWC webpage. Give us a couple of weeks after this webinar to make sure that we have all of our technology problems sorted out with it, and then you'll be able to look at it at your leisure, and some of the folks who are unable to attend could also check that out. If you have some people in your jurisdiction you think might want to look at it, that would be a perfect opportunity for them. We will take questions today, and I am certain that you have questions. I'm certain that you'll have lots of things you'll want to learn about. Maybe you came to the webinar with some questions in mind already. Hopefully the presenters will be able to answer some of those for you. Here's the process for asking questions. If you go to the top bar of your screen, you'll see a Q&A box. You'll want to click on that, and a box will open up, and that's where you will ask your questions. We may get a lot of questions, and so we'll try and group them together, but we'll take them at the end. This gives the presenters the opportunity to say a few things, provide you some information, and maybe answer some of your questions, and then we'll see at the end if you still have questions on some of the information you've learned today. So that's going to be our process. Let me tell you a little bit about our presenters. First of all, we have Mark Fleming with the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Committee. The organization up on the Hill, as we call it, at the Capitol, the group that gathers the data for the legislature on various projects, and this is one of them that the legislature decided they would like some data collected on. So they are going to help with the process for reporting, and then they will be able to get the data from that and make it available, report to the legislature. We also have Katherines Page. She's with Seattle Southside. We know that there are lots of questions out there relating to how you gather information to report, or how your groups that you fund will gather information and report to you as a jurisdiction. And so we want to give you some information about that today and maybe answer some of your specific questions there. So that's the rundown. Again, we'll take questions at the end, so write them down and feel free to fill out the little question box, and we will we'll manage those when our presenters have finished. So let's see, with that, should we move over to Mark Fleming then from JLARC? Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you very much. You're welcome. And good afternoon. Thank you for attending this webinar. I'm here from JLARC along with my colleague Stephen Meyerhoff, and we'll present an overview of the system as well as a live demonstration of the system. I need to give you some background of the process. This data collection is mandated by House Bill 1253 that was passed in 2013, and it assigned the responsibility of collecting lodging tax data to JLARC. This supersedes the reporting requirement that was established in 2007. And what we did is we designed a reporting system with input from jurisdictions. We started out with an Excel-based system. We got a number of comments, and particularly people asking for questions about clarification. And the more we thought about it, the more we realized that a web-based system might be more appropriate for that. So we developed this web-based system, and we pre-tested that with about 10 volunteer localities and got some very good feedback, and we very much appreciate their participation. Going forward, the process will be that data will be reported we will report data as submitted by municipalities. And our role is to collect and report data, and we will not audit this data. The accountability is the responsibility of your Lodging Tax Advisory Committee and your local governing bodies. And the SAO also includes lodging taxes and audits of local governments. One thing to point out is we'll be reporting for the calendar year, January 1st to December 31st, 2014. And then we will our report will be in the form of a database available to the public. And if you're familiar with the Legislative Evaluation and Accountability Program, LEAP, they have a fiscal law site where you can, it's an interactive site. It will be similar to that. Looking very briefly at the information flow, these dots represent all of the organizations that your jurisdictions fund with the lodging tax. And the way it works is they will report that information to you, the municipality, and you will then report that to JLARC using the lodging tax collection system. And that information becomes the basis of the public reporting database. So let me give you a quick overview of the system. Here's your login screen. This is where you create an account, where you come back to log into the system on a regular basis. The second screen to keep in mind is this is where you actually put in the data for your municipality when you create the account. And the third screen is the recipient information. This is where you're going to report all of the various organizations and all of the activities for that organization. And I'll be going over these individually, but I want to just give you a basic overview of the system and its layout. And also at the bottom there, we have FAQs. They are on every page, so if you have a question, you go there first, and hopefully that will answer them for you. And we also have pop-ups throughout all the little circles with the question marks. They will provide information to help you help define and clarify some of the terms that we use. So I'm going to start out by just demonstrating how you create a user account. Most of you probably have done this in a number of places. You go to the login screen, you click on create an account, comes up the municipality information, you put all of that in, and then you want to be sure to check the municipality. If you forget to check the municipality and hit sign up, it will take you to a screen and make you think that you signed up, but you haven't. If you try to log in, you will get invalid login. And I noticed it's easy to do that because I did it myself at least once when I'm trying to play with the system. And then hit sign up, and you should be ready to go. Then you'll get an email. You need to click verify that email or verify that address before you can log into the system. Once you've done that, you're ready to go. So at this point, yes. And just in case we have the forgot your password, we can always send that to you. That would turn to the live demonstration, and hopefully our system will work as we do that. Yeah. So Stephen is logging into the system. Okay, so actually, you've created your account, and now you're logging into the system for the first time. And are they seeing the screen truncated like that? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is your main menu, and It also looks kind of small, but as best we can. So this is your main menu. Once you've logged in, first thing you want to do is add an organization. So to do that, you click Add an Organization, and it takes you to the Add Organization page. This organization is the Chamber of Commerce. And you see the little blue button down there, right beside municipal. Click that one, Stephen. It tells you how to define if it's municipal. And basically we use the definition, if it's your facility and you're paying the people, it's municipal, otherwise it's not. In this particular case, it's not a municipal organization, so we don't check the button. So now you would add the organization. This takes you back to the main menu, and you'll see the Chamber of Commerce listed there on the very top line. So now you have your first organization. And so now you can move on and add an activity. And you can do that by clicking the green button that says Add Activity. And over on the blue box on the left, you would type in the name, which is, the activity is what the Chamber of Commerce is doing for you. In this case, they're running your Visitors Bureau. And then organization's already in there. For activity type, you have a drop-down menu, 3 options that are explained by the button. And you click on the drop-down, Steve. And you have three types. You have an event, what is it? Event, can't read the small one. Facility and marketing. In this case, it's Visitors Bureau, so that's considered marketing. The activity date is January 1, 2014 through December 31st. It's a year-round activity. And then the organization requested $20,000 for this activity. The jurisdiction awarded $15,000. And the total cost of the activity is $30,000. So with that, you've added your activity, and you can then just go ahead and click Activity. That takes you back to the main menu. So as organizations apply and are awarded, you can go ahead and start filling that out. And then at any time during the year, you can edit this activity. And you would do that by going to the orange button over there and clicking on that. That takes you back to the recipient page. So now you can continue to add activity. So, for example, and let me explain a little bit of what we have up here. We have 4 columns, and the little top, one's projected, one's actual, and one's methodology, and there are pop-up buttons explaining those. Projected is what they tell you at the beginning of the year they plan to do. Actual is what they tell you at the end of the year that actually accomplished. And methodology is how they figured out the number of people that attended, the information they're presenting. And we have some information of different types of ways that people have gone about it. We pulled these off of the reports that were submitted to the Department of Commerce. So these are the ways to do it. It doesn't tell you exactly how to do these things, but this gives you some idea of what's expected. And then, as always, you can always put in other and describe it. And we ask on the methodology, you select one from the drop-down menu, and then also describe what it is. So we'll go through putting in the projected attendance for now. So for this one, they were expecting 50,000 people year-round. And people traveling more than 50 miles to attend is 25,000. And of the total attendees traveling more than 50 miles, how many came from another state or country? It's 5,000. And again, thinking about the methodology on this, this being a Visitors Bureau, they do a market survey. That's how they know how many people come as a result of their efforts. So under methodology, even once you've received their application, you can put in market survey or direct representative survey. A market survey is a representative survey. And that would be all three of those, Stephen.
Oh.
So essentially, they know what, where people, how people are coming to the town, how they got, what the Visitors Bureau did in terms of creating that or putting out information and getting people to the town. And this is what they would have told you at the beginning of the, when they submitted their application. So going back to the columns, they projected 12,500 people staying in paid accommodations. And here they use the methodology is a direct count. They have an arrangement with the establishments to report this information. And for unpaid accommodations, they project 5,000, and they're getting this information by using an informal survey, by asking visitors about how they came to, what kind of accommodations they're staying in while they're there. The last item we asked for is number of paid lodging nights, and here they're projecting 5,000. And this is also based on a direct count as reported by the local establishments. So all of this is information that you can put into the system as soon as you make the award. You don't have to wait till the end of the year. And we encourage various organizations to be updating this throughout the year. That way you're not waiting to the last minute trying to get it all in before we close the system. So once you're done with that, you would hit Update Activity. You're back at the main menu.
And then someone asked again, and if you could just repeat, if it's only the jurisdiction, they click municipal, and everybody else, even if they're under contract, would click other.
Right.
Because that's one of your questions you got. If they're under contract with the city, they're not a municipal. They're only a municipal if they are the municipal.
Right.
If they're employees, right. So hopefully that answered that while you were there. I just thought it was a good time to.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So again, now it's back to the main menu. So now at the end of the year, they've submitted their report. You go back to the Add Activity. And actually, I'm not going to walk you through all those numbers, but they'll essentially put in what they actually received. And it's possible you may have changed the methodology between the two, so you can make that adjustment. But essentially, what we're looking for is, and what the legislature was requesting is, what did you say you were going to do? What did you get, and how did you figure it? And then, actually, before you leave that page, click on Return to Dashboard. Yeah. So, don't leave yet. If you leave the page without saving, and you go back, click on Return to Dashboard. If you put data in, it's always going to ask you if you really want to leave this page. And this way, you ensure that you save your data. Okay, then go back. So that's it for the live demonstration. I mean, it's pretty basic. The more difficult parts are in figuring out where to get the information and how, but this is how the system actually works. A few more items. So can we go back to my slides? Let me see if I can get us. So just in wrapping up, reporting deadline will be March 15th for the calendar year of 2014. And this is not something that you have to submit. The data, if you put the data in there, it's there. We will just lock down the system for 2014 data, and you will no longer be able to edit that after March 15th. As I mentioned, we have FAQs. There's a link available on every screen. And we're also putting these FAQs on the JLARC homepage. So that if your organizations have questions, they can access them there. They don't have access to the system, but they can go to our webpage, and I think that is jlarc.ledge.wa.gov, and they'll be there. And for assistance, if you have questions about technical issues, email JLARC at leg.wa.gov. And for figuring out estimating attendance, your visitor center or convention bureaus are a good place to start. Commercial firms specializing in estimating tourism can provide the services at a fee. And the Association of Washington Cities and Washington State Associated Counties have also helped to organize some information. I believe that's why we have Catherine Kurtzman here. So that's what I have on the lodging tax. So I'll turn it back over to Victoria. Or Catherine.
And so we'll go to Catherine now. Thank you for your questions. We see them coming in. We're acknowledging them, answering them now if we can, or we will attempt to get to them at the end. So with that, we'll move on to Katherine Kurtzman, again with Seattle Southside, and she's going to give you some good tips about how to do this. Thank you.
At a local level, as Mark mentioned, that's really where the auditing of these funds and decisions are made. So this is really industry advice for local lodging tax advisory committees. But there are basically 8 benefits of conducting that economic impact analysis, particularly on festivals and events. I work for the cities of Tukwila, SeaTac, and Des Moines, and that seems to be the activity that generates the most questions when looking at economic impact. But the reason we do it is to demonstrate good stewardship of public funds. It helps us justify financial support from not only the municipalities, but other local donors and sponsors. It proves the return on investment. It can help attract valuable sponsorships such as Alaska Airlines helping us with the Rock and Roll Marathon. Provides good benchmarking to track future growth of the events and festivals. Gives us a way for expanding the events. Gets your partners and local businesses more invested by showing how they benefit from these activities, and can gain good market research, demographic, event marketing, product development information from the attendees. There are 3 basic methods that we use to determine how people are coming to the event, where they're coming from, and how much they're spending. The first method I'll reference, if you could go to the next slide, is the estimated or direct count that Mark referenced. This is the easiest and fastest method to produce an estimated economic impact. However, it is the least accurate. But it can be a good method if you're a very basic generalized, if you only need a basic generalized estimate. There's little time available to prepare and organize prior to the event, because sometimes these opportunities come and we don't have a lot of time. There are a few volunteers available to survey event attendees, and no one is available to collect the survey data and input it into a database or a spreadsheet. And that's really just getting some kind of estimated count. So, for example, the World Senior Softball Tournament Championship. We literally counted the cars in the parking lot and if they were coming from out of state. We asked everyone that sold an admission ticket to sit in the bleachers. We had package deals with our hotels and were able to count the number of room nights generated. But again, those are just direct or estimated. Method 2 is working with your hotels to gain a room night count, and you can do that by creating a code for that specific event and then ask all your hoteliers to give you the room night count. And then you can take the room nights and multiply it times the average spending that is reported statewide in the Dean Runyon report. And we'll give you a link later on in this presentation to that information. But the Dean Runyon Travel Impact Report is calculated in partnership through all of the CVBs in the state of Washington, through the State Tourism Alliance, and it is calculated by county and by statewide. So you can use that travel impact data for a day tripper, how much do they average spend in your county, or if they're staying at a paid accommodation, what their average spend is. So you can literally multiply the average spend by the room nights booked in your community. And third, and the most valuable, is the intercept interview. And people sometimes complained that, you know, this is difficult to do, we don't have the resources, but we're providing you with some resources available at the end of this presentation that will demonstrate just how easy it really is to collect that data. It's really a matter of 10 questions at the most, and having some volunteers to really get out there and ask those questions, or get folks who are participants to really fill out the survey. But it's a great way to demonstrate to identify the challenges and solve those challenges in the future with the feedback that you get in those intercept interviews. Work with your Main Street CVBs, local organizations, and coordinate the staff and volunteer. Design the survey, CVB, Convention Visitors Bureau, or your destination marketing organization. There's pretty much a regional destination marketing organization in every one of our counties, and that travel impact information can be easily obtained through the local Convention Visitors Bureau. Determine how you will encourage participants to fill out the survey. You can give away coupons for a free bottle of water or a soft drink. You can develop the surveys. There are thousands of samples online, and you could just use those as templates for your own event. Develop a signage program to encourage folks to go and participate in the Intercept survey. But again, all of the economic impact data can be easily calculated through simple algebra using the Dean Runyon Travel Impact Report. We'll go to the next slide. So tips for good surveys, just keep these key points in mind. Only ask for the information you need. 10 questions or fewer is better. Be as brief as possible. Have all your interviewers wear the same color of shirt or the logo, identifying them as sort of your ambassador of this information. Types of questions you might ask is the tourist in town specifically for this event? How long is the tourist here staying? Where will the tourist be staying if not in a hotel? Family and friends. The Dean Runyon report also tells you average spending if you're staying with family and friends, the demographic information, and you can go ahead and ask how much they're spending on this travel trip. Go to the next slide. These are two important resources. You can actually go to the Dean Runyon Associates website and get the travel impact for Washington State broke out by counties. And there is a handbook that's been produced by the Destination Marketing Association International that will go into more details if have your Convention and Visitors Bureaus are using the money for a website or an ad campaign. They'll tell you how to calculate the economic impact from those activities as well. So that's a quick summary of how we do it in the industry locally.
Very good. So thank you. Some very good tips there. I learned a couple of new things. And we do try to not use acronyms. So again, CVB is?
Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Yes, Convention and Visitors Bureau. So with that, we can take questions now, and I see that some of them we've been answering as we've gone along, the easier ones. We do have one up there right now that is related to Katherine's presentation, so maybe if we could just take that one while it's up there. Do you want to read it, Serena?
Actually, I'll go ahead and just summarize this. It's basically a question about how to estimate marketing efforts, particularly marketing that spans multiple years.
Well, there are a couple of methodologies. One is a conversion study, and that really does require asking that expert and hiring someone to do that. So, for example, we just completed a conversion study for the Seattle Southside website, and they really do intercept interviews, but a much more involved intercept interview, and it requires a sampling of anywhere from 500 to 2,000 people who have visited the website, and they go into depth of how much did they spend, where did they stay, and they develop averages over time of how that either website or marketing campaign influenced people's decision to come to that travel destination. So that's detailed in that handbook that I referenced at the end of my presentation.
And does that give numbers by, like, for an annual number that they would then be able to put into the system for reporting?
Going forward. And we typically do our conversion studies every 3 to 5 years.
Okay, good information. So let's see what other questions we've had.
Another question we have, I think, is for JLARC, and it is, we are a county and receive lodging tax funds. We award funds each year to organizations that apply. Do they need to create an account with JLARC? And they say they ask because a lot of the information is being submitted by the recipients of lodging tax funds with their quarterly invoices.
And the answer to that is no, the organizations do not have an account with JLARC. Our primary reporting relationship is between the municipality and JLARC. So those organizations will have to submit that information to the municipality, and then the municipality will then enter that data into this reporting system and then to us.
And that is one reason why you can use this all year round. You don't have to wait till the end where you have to put in a lot of information. Let's say you have an event in July. It's a one-time only. You can put the information in August or September or October, and then you're done with that particular event. Then if you've had another one over Labor Day weekend, you can put that in as well when you've finished with that. And so no need to wait till the end for the city or county to have to complete their reporting requirements. But you do have an end date for your calendar year of when you need to get all your information into the system, and that is March 15th, right?
Correct.
So somewhere along the line, you'll need to finalize all of this before March 15th. They'll shut down the system, and that's the data that they'll gather for that calendar year, and then you're no longer able to put information in for that year. Then it will open back up for the next year.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure how the transition will be made, but it's along those same lines.
Okay. I'm imagining that.
And then also, if you do all that after an event, and then they come back and say, you know, we were wrong on that, you can go back and edit the data up until March 15th.
Up until March 15th. So, okay. Do we have another question, Serena?
Okay, we have a question. Does JLARC have fillable forms for the agencies to use for submitting the information to the municipalities?
We have not developed one. I know that at least one municipality has taken that recipient information sheet and used that as a template. That is the information that we're requesting, and that would be a very simple way to form. The one thing you don't get by creating that form is you don't have the pop-ups, but those are available on our FAQ page.
So they could take a copy of that page and make it available to whoever is going to be providing them the information. Okay. And then your FAQ page, be sure to look at that where you can get some of the details.
Right.
Okay. Good question so far. What else do we have? PowerPoint will be available. Is that what the PPT says? They're showing me signs. So the PowerPoint will be available again, as we've mentioned before. I know that some folks had trouble hearing. So we'll make that available, and be sure to make the link available to anyone else in your organization that you think will want to look at it and learn. I do want to thank JLARC in particular for the work they've done on the reporting system. When we first started, it looked a lot different than it does now, and people got the chance to look at it, to try it out, and from that information, they made a lot of very good changes, and I think it's more intuitive the way it is now. And so we certainly appreciate them working with us to make it a system that works better for everyone. And also, Catherine, thank you for coming and answering some of the questions about how to estimate. That's probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I think the estimating versus actual is one of the most frequently asked questions, or an area that people have expressed a lot of anxiety about. And so it's helpful to learn where people can get more of this information and make it easier for them to do their reporting. So we do have another question, is that right?
Actually, we have a couple that have come in.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and read this one. Under methodology, is there any further clarification between item 3 and 4, which are on the JLARC website?
Methodology 3 and methodology 4.
Yeah, go to edit activity.
That closed. Well, we're going to have to go to...
That's all right. We've got a little time.
Let's do the other question real quick.
Okay, let me do the other question while we look up that. If our county announces the 2015 awards in late 2014, can we post the information for the 2015 organizations prior to March 15th, 2015?
We're discussing that now. I think there will be a possibility, but I don't know the details on that. The way we're thinking about the system is, yeah, it should be live throughout, but we haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do that. So the answer is, I'm not sure. We'll let you know.
Good question. So back to the methodology question, we are working through getting that put up on the screen so that we can talk about it in a little more detail.
Methodology.
Here we go.
Difference between 3 and 4. Yeah, the difference. 3 is a representative survey, and what that is, it's very structured. It has a confidence interval, margin of error. It's a very formal process. An informal survey is much less formal. For example, if you have an organization or an event where it's not, there's no paid admission, you just have a crowd, you can go through and ask random people, where'd you come from, where you're staying. It's not as good as a formal survey, but it's a good effort. And one of the things that we pointed out early on is that even though it's calling for actual, we're allowing estimates simply because some events just don't allow an actual count. What we are asking for, though, is a good faith best estimate, and tell us how you did it.
Good question. We do get quite a few questions about that. So thank you for that question. Good clarification. That's it on the questions?
Bring back the page with the resource website.
Okay, that's a good idea. So what about, let's put up Katherines Page for that, what do you call that, Dean Runyon?
Dean Runyon.
Yeah, we want to make sure.
Report,
there we go.
and the handbook from the Destination Marketing Association International. It tells you how to measure web activity advertising campaigns for the outcome reporting necessarily to submit to JLARC.
Good. And then the next one, there you go. So again, there is how you contact JLARC. If you want more information about, just generally about the lodging tax, the bill, and that sort of thing, you can go to our website. We'll have some things up there. We'll also have this webinar up there. As soon as we can get it up on there, you'll see it. MRSC has done quite a few things on the lodging tax. They're a very good resource for all of the funds that cities and counties get. In particular, they've done some good work on this fund, on the lodging tax. So be sure to check that out. I sometimes go to MRSC myself to learn a few things. So if you haven't been on their website lately, you should check it out. And I think they are updating their website. So it should be even better in the future. So again, I'm Victoria Lincoln with AWC. Serena Dolly, that you've heard ask some of the questions. She's an analyst with me here at AWC and works on this particular issue. You can contact either one of us. Mark Fleming and tell me your name. Stephen. Have done a great job with the JLARC piece, and again, we really appreciate the work they've done on that to make it as user-friendly as possible and easy and clear. And Catherine, thank you for coming down from Seattle South Side. I know this is a topic that you spend a lot of time in your job on, and there's contact information for Catherine if you have specific questions for her. I'm sure she'd be available to maybe take an email or a phone call from you if you get hung up on something. So I think that ends our webinar today. We certainly appreciate everyone participating. I think it tells us that this is an important subject. So we'll get this webinar up on our website as soon as possible. Again, thank you for participating.